Hey up, welcome to Iron Horse Weekly. Nice and simple this week. We've got the ground control boards in place and the LEDs wired up to them as well, so we can finally get some signals working on the layout. Let's have a look how it's done. Now, some of you folks may not know this. If you only follow me on the YouTube channel, you might not actually know that I have a Facebook page as well. And on that Facebook page, I post links to videos, but I also post little photograph updates, and I also talk to the people that comment as well. So if you do fancy interacting a little bit more with the channel and its members, do pop on over to the Facebook page, Iron Horse Railways, link in the description box. Give it a like, give it a follow, and if you want to inquire about my weathering commissions, that's the place to do it as well. Right, let's crack on. Come here. I don't actually know what I'm doing. This is all a ruse. I haven't got a clue. Every single bit of it is ad-libbed. But that said, let's have a go at trying to get these ground signals installed finally, so we can crack on with the rest of the layout build, shall we? So as you all know, we've been doing the layout for the last couple of weeks and we've got ground signals installed. We did that a couple of episodes back now, but they're not yet connected to the point motors. And that is the next bit that we're going to do today. Ground signal control boards. This makes it a lot easier rather than messing about with resistors and soldering and wiring. It is all just plug and play with the DCC Concepts ground signals that they offer. Let's see what we get in the box and then we'll have a look at the layout. So inside the box you get your control board, you get your wire which goes to the point motor. It's already bared back at the edges there. You also get a LED lead which goes in this end. That's got bared ends. That's in case you want to connect it to a non-DCC Concepts LED or signal so you can still use it. Load of screws for fastening this to your baseboard. Spare cables and wiring. That's all you need. Simple as that. Let's try and get this on the layout then. See if we can get it working. So here we are underneath the layout. That's our point motor there. And we can see here we've got the dropper cables from the ground signals. Those ground signals here correlate to those two ground signals here. So all I'm going to do is first and foremost connect the control board into the point motor with these wires, glue this in place, and then plug the feeds into either of these. Now, the good thing about this is once you've got one plugged in there, you can just change them around if you want any particular signal. So that might be red and white, that might be double white. When you switch it over, the frog does its thing, and then that becomes white and white, and that's red and white, and Vicky Verka. So this is a little bit upside down and a bit difficult for me to see, but your green wire goes into the frog, which is this one here, and then your red goes in there and your black goes in there, either or. So to make things easier on myself, I'm just going to wrap the frog wire around these two, or one of these two, because they both go into the same port anyway, and then these are going to go in the red and the black chambers as well. I don't think it matters which way you plug these in, because you can change LEDs at this end like I mentioned before. So let's have a go at trying to do this, shall we? This would have been a lot easier had I done this in the first place, because I am having great difficulty trying to get... First and foremost, you're looking at this upside down, not top down. So I'm looking at it underneath. I'm trying to get in to see it. I can't move the baseboard, I can't flip it upside down because everything's in place. I'm trying to get the wire up into the little hole, and it just... because you're working with such fine wires. So we're going to get this in place with a little bit of upside down soldering. Carefully you don't get blinded by errant solder. Right, after a lot of fiddling in twiddly middlies of wires and things and a bit of soldering, that's all now connected. So let's have a look at the signals and see if they actually work. Okay, so that's the two there. Hopefully when I press the power button on engine driver they should light up. Yes they do. Okay, bit bright, but apparently I can turn that down. Let's see if these actually change colour when I set the points a different way. So let's have a look. Nothing there. Nothing there. Not changed yet. Let's try this. There we go, that's changed it. Okay, so they're both connected to this one here, the front one, so that's fine. Okay, jolly good. So now it's just a case of adjusting them and getting them to light up at the right times. And then apparently we can twist the potentiometer and change the brightness as well. Jolly good. Let's just all the rest of them then, shall we? With my 12 pairs of hands, I'm just going to twist the little potentiometer dial gently to the left, which should reduce the brightness. There we are. Lovely, that's much more like it. They don't look as bright on in real life, I will say that now. The camera is just overgetting them. In real life they actually look fantastic, so that's a win. I need to adjust them till they all light up at the right time now, but I'm happy with that. Okay, so now it's time to wire up the rest of them. I'm not going to lie to you, it's much easier doing all this before you put them in place because my lactic acid is building up and it's making me want to go angry. So yeah, pro tip for you, if you're doing this, don't be an idiot like me and try and do it after you've already put the point motors in place. Be patient and do it all at once. Right, finally in place. We're going to route it now and then give the second lot a try. Now, here's an interesting setup. I need this point motor over here to control this signal here. Now, thankfully DCC Concepts do include some bits for you. This little wire here, you plug this into the control board and then the back end into this little splitter, and that then lets you have two outputs through one board control, so you can have two signals doing the same thing. So I'm going to set that up now, try and get this one working from the point motor that's all the way over there. So as you can see there, look, got the main feed coming from the main board there and splitting off to the signal there. Now depending which one of those two I plug it into will determine, I think will determine the same aspect, i.e. red or green, to two signals depending on which one it's plugged into. So I'm just gonna try it now, see which is which. This cable comes with this little pack as well. These are available in the ground signal packets you get, so that comes with the ground signals. Really handy bit of kit, and it's actually saved me a lot of hassle moving this over there. So I'm just going to switch this wire into the second hole, and then that aspect signal should work. Okay, full disclosure, upon wiring this up I noticed I've done something wrong. When I first installed this point, for some reason I snipped off the wire which goes to the frog. These ground signals need a frog wire to switch them over. So remember, I made the mistake so you don't have to. I think I'll do that another day though, because I've got a lot of these signals to install, so let's just bear that in mind. And this next bit is why I really do enjoy working with DCC Concepts products. Now, the previous issue I had before, where I forgot to cut the dropper away, what I've done is had a quick revision of the signal setup there, and I've removed the indicator as to which road set on for these two, because you don't really need one. But going back onto the main line, you could well indeed need a signal. So all I've done is plugged another adapter into the other socket and plugged it onto the opposite way. So that now shows green when the main line is clear and red when it isn't. When the point is set against it, it now shows red. All through the magic of television. Now, obviously you're wondering why can't I just plug it in there, because if I did that, it would show an opposite aspect. And I need it to show the same aspect as the shunt signal allowing it in, hence the need for the crossover / extension board. Well done, DCC Concepts. So then, are they actually any good? Are they worth it? With most things, preparation is key to success. And a lot of the difficulty I've had with this whole process of fitting automatic points and signalling is I've not had the option of having all the money together at once, to buy everything at once and do it all properly. What I've had to do is like what many modelers would have to do, and just do a little bit at a time. Now, if you're going to do it that way and acquire bits and pieces at a time, because it can get quite expensive, let's be honest, it can be quite expensive. Taking bits at a time is fine, but if you've got all this stuff just mounting up and bits and pieces here and bits and pieces there, and you can't actually do anything with them, and I can't do this until I get that, and I can't do that until I get this piece, and then I can't get this piece until I get them, and I can't get them until I buy these, and before you know it, you're chasing your own tail. Just be aware. Whatever path you take, be it the careful and thought out path or the path that I've done, which is doing a little bit at a time, you can still get these things working, and that's the best thing about them. The little ground signals come in like two types. I've got the main line mini ones, which have got red and green, which are fantastic for what I want them to be for. You can even up and down with a little thing. The little white balance is going crazy today. Then of course you've got your little shunt signals as well. So now I've got these installed with the point motors, everything is working as it should be. I've had to rethink the signalling, simplify it a bit because it was a bit confusing. I've looked at a few prototypes similar to what I've done, and I had far too many signals on there for what I wanted to be doing. But primarily the signals were on there just to give me an idea about what route was actually set, which it now does, so that's thumbs up for everyone involved. I've used a couple of 3-packs today of the ground signal interfaces. These work with the IP digital and the IP analog point motors as well, so even if you're not on DCC, you can still take advantage of the ease of use, which is very good. These things as well, when you buy your ground signals from DCC Concepts, you'll get these little adapter boards here. Come on, white balance, play the game. Okay, white balance is terrible, here we are. They're fantastic because it means you can have several LEDs, well up to about 2 or 3. You've got to be careful about current draw and what have you, but as long as it's under 1 or 2, then you can get away with plugging them in, linking them up like a daisy chain. And it essentially means you can have 2 or 3 signals all showing the same aspect, which is fantastic. So you've got one point motor controlling 3 signals, which is what I've got over there, which I'll show you at the end of this little chatty bit. But all in all, for me, I think it's definitely worth a shot. And if it's something you're concerned about being able to do it, believe me, it is easier than you think. And if I can do it, Captain Buffoon over here, then you can do it as well. So then, what's next for the layout? Well, it all turned out good in the end. I managed to get the points installed with the point motors, and then we've got the ground control signals installed as well, all working rather nicely, I think. Just one point to add there is with the ground control signals, you don't actually need to have a power feed going into the frog. You can just have the frog feed, i.e. the green wire, coming from the LED into the frog port on the point motor. You don't also need a feed coming from the track frog in there. It will still work, just the one feed from the plug there, so keep that in mind. If you do have a difficult point like I did, you can still have the lighting working with just the wires and the lights and the ground control board as well. Now the fun stuff's over with. I'm afraid it's that time again. I need to ballast. Can't stand it. Hate ballasting. That is the one thing about model railways I wish I could just pay someone to come and do for me, and then I wouldn't have to bother, because I absolutely hate it. I don't know why, I just find it tedious and boring. It's like a hill I have to walk up. I can't be bothered with it, but I know it needs to be done. Got the legacy ballast from DCC Concepts. I've used it before, it's good stuff. I'm going to try and motivate myself to do the ballasting, so hopefully next week you'll actually have a layout which looks like something, looks like a layout. But I want to know what you hate about model railways. What part of it do you absolutely despise with great disdain? Is it scratch building models? Is it building the baseboard? Is it ballasting like me? Is it a pain in the backside? Do you agree with me? What is it? What twists your melon, so to speak? What really grinds your gears about model railwaying? What is the one task you don't like having to do? Leave me a comment below, let me know what it is you despise about this hobby. Until then, I will see you all next week. Cheers guys, bye bye.